All right, so we're diving into some really cool research today. You sent over this MLE Bench paper, right? The one that's looking at whether AI can actually handle these machine learning tasks, like, those intense Kaggle competitions, all on its own. We're talking AI potentially building AI. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question for sure. And this research really takes a swing at answering it. I think what's so interesting is that they didn't really start small. They kind of just threw these AI agents into the deep end, using real-world Kaggle competitions as the testing ground.
Yeah, no kidding. They didn't just use any Kaggle competitions either, right? Like, what were these AI agents actually up
We're
against?
talking 75 different challenges, and they span all sorts of different disciplines, from natural language processing to computer vision. They even included that open vaccine competition, the one that focused on predicting COVID-19 vaccine degradation. Talk about a timely challenge. And get this for a little bit of historical mystery. They even threw in the Vesuvius challenge. Can you believe that? Tasking these AI agents with deciphering ancient scrolls.
Whoa, ancient scrolls. Sounds like something straight out of Indiana Jones. He could probably use one of these AI assistants. But these were serious challenges, right? This wasn't just beginner stuff.
Absolutely not. These 75 competitions represent a combined prize pool of nearly $2 million. These were complex problems that attracted some of the best data scientists out there, not just your average AI experiments.
So you have these AI agents going up against real humans in these Kaggle competitions, and some of them are actually doing pretty well. But I gotta ask, what kind of AI can even try to do these Kaggle competitions in the first place? We're not talking about like those simple chatbots, right?
You're right. This is definitely not your average chatbot territory. The researchers basically put together this AI dream team.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're talking about OpenAI's GPT-4. And then there's this really interesting 101 preview. It's been causing a real buzz in the AI world. And we've also got Anthropic's Claude and Meta's Llama in the mix. But here's where it gets even more interesting. They didn't just throw these language models at the data and hope for the best. They gave them some extra help. Like some special tools. We call them agent frameworks.
Okay, agent frameworks. Now that sounds kind of complicated. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. Imagine you've got this group of amazing chefs. They're like our language models.
Right.
But even the best chef needs a good kitchen, the right tools, and maybe even an assistant chef or two to really shine. Those are kind of like the agent frameworks. They give the AI the structure and tools they need to deal with all that complex coding and data analysis.
So it's kind of like some frameworks are good for certain things, like baking versus grilling. They each have their own strengths.
Yeah, exactly. They tested a few different frameworks, and each one had its pros and cons.
Yeah.
So like AID. That one was made specifically for these Kaggle competitions. But then you've got these more general purpose ones like MLab and OpenHands. Those are kind of like those multi-tools. They can do a bunch of different things,
Yeah.
but maybe not as well as something that's made for a specific job.
That's really cool. It shows how much work goes into getting AI ready for these challenges. It's not just about how smart they are, it's also about the tools and strategies you give them. But let's get to the really interesting part. Did any of these AI agents actually manage to climb those Kaggle leaderboards? Like, how did they actually do?
This is where it gets really exciting. So the O1 preview model, the one using the AID framework, that one came out on top. It consistently scored at the same level as a Kaggle Grandmaster.
Wait a minute, a grandmaster. Aren't those like the best of the best in the Kaggle world? That's unbelievable.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right? Getting to that level usually takes years of practice and competition.
Hmm.
And to see an AI do that well, it's a pretty big deal in the world of AI and data science. People are definitely taking notice.
Okay, so we're talking about AI going up against humans in these Kaggle competitions, and it sounds like they're doing pretty well, but something's been on my mind. How do we actually know these AI agents are playing fair? Like, could they be secretly looking up answers online? Basically cheating their way to the top?
It's a really important question. And to be honest, it's something that worries a lot of researchers. We call it contamination. It's a big deal. Imagine these AI agents being able to look at code online forums, past Kaggle solutions, all while they're supposed to be solving these challenges on their own.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair at all. It'd be like taking a test when you've already seen the answers. So did the researchers think about this in their work? Did they try to prevent that?
They definitely did. They knew contamination was a problem. So they really tried to test for it, especially with GPT-4. They looked into its memory, tried to figure out if it recognized the competitions it had already seen. And they even made the competition descriptions kind of vague,
Hmm.
to throw it off the scent.
So did they catch GPT-4 cheating?
Not really. They couldn't find any proof that it was using old solutions to cheat on the MLE Bench challenges.
But it brings up a really interesting point. How can we be sure that everything's fair? When these AI systems might have seen tons of information online, it's a tough nut to crack.
It really makes you wonder about how AI learns and what knowledge even means for these systems now. It's not just about what they can do, but how they learn to do it, and whether we can make sure that process is fair and transparent.
Exactly. And that's why this MLE bench is so important. The fact that it's open source means any researcher can look at it. Test it. Use it to come up with even better ways to evaluate these AI agents. It's like having a giant open lab where everyone can work together to understand these systems that are changing so fast. So we need to build the tools to keep up with the AI so we can keep things fair. So it's not just about building smarter AI, it's about making sure we can handle them.
Absolutely. This research gives us a much better picture of what AI is capable of right now, where it stumbles, and the ethical questions we need to be asking as we explore further. It's a huge step in the right direction.
It's exciting and a little scary, don't you think? AI is changing so quickly, and this research shows us just a tiny glimpse of what the future might hold.
I agree. We're only just starting to understand what AI can do in fields like machine learning. There's so much potential, but we have to be careful and think about the ethical side of things too. We have to understand how it impacts the world around us.
Well said. Thanks for breaking all of this down for us. This has been really eye-opening. And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive into AI and machine learning has given you a lot to think about. Until next time.